好，各位朋友们好。
Hello, everyone.
咱们今天聊一聊呢，这个生命能不能延长呢？
Today, let's talk about if life
在
can be
整个
extended.
人类的历史上我首先相信
In the
每个人
history of
其实都希
mankind,
望长命百
I
岁，
believe that
都
everyone
希望
wants
自
to
己是
live
长寿的，
a long life,
尤其是生活过得还是不错的人哈。
especially people who lead a good life.
是，其实我觉得，你像从小到大，我觉得
Indeed,
我们的文
Master,
化当中，
I remember
家中
when
如果
I
有
was
长寿
young,
的老人的话，
and if there's
都认为是
someone
很大的福
and
气来着。
if there is an elder that lived
然后
to
呢，我也
a
有
ripe old
看
age,
现在
we
就
take
是
that as a
现
good
在科技
blessing.
哈，就是这个贝佐斯还投资了一家公司，就是希望
And
能
now
够
I
通
know
过
that
延缓
Bezos
细胞的
also
衰老来
invests
延
in a
长人类
company
的寿命。
to look at ways to extend lifespan.
然后也有听说，好像从古代以来啊，好像一些皇帝，他们也
And
特
also,
别
Master,
想去研
I
究
heard
这
that
个
in
长
ancient time
长寿
there
的
are some
嗯，
emperors who are
我觉得
very
历代皇帝通过很多他们去寻找
curious
长寿
about
最
how
好的
to
方
extend
法啊，
life,
或者是找道士来帮助炼丹呐，
or they may
啊，
want
都
to
希望
sort
能够
the
活得更长久。
elixir of immortality, the ultimate pursuit of
像在过
longevities.
去中国最著名的一位大皇帝的秦始皇，
And in the ancient time, there's actually an emperor, Emperor Qing,
他就
Qing
特
Shi
别想
Huang.
长寿。
He
那他
also
呢在
seek
2000多年
the
前呢，就是
immortality.
平定了整个中国的很多诸
He
侯，
unified the many warring states during the warring states period, and he
当然有
established
这
the
样的
Qing
权
dynasty.
力就是统一大的天下，他希望自己能够长命百岁，
After he united the
他
land,
就做了很
he
多努
wanted
力，
to think of a
他
way
派
to
人
extend
呢
his
到
lifespan.
处寻访这
So
样
he
的
began to search far
高
and
人
wide
和妙
for
方，
the secret to a long
但
life.
是没有得到。
He was
后
not
来
successful.
呢，还听一位道士叫
Later
许
on,
福，
he heard about
说传说
Xu
呢，
Fu,
说这个
who is an alchemist and
东
explorer,
海
and he
有个
heard
叫蓬莱
that
仙岛，
in the
那里
Eastern
呢住着
Sea
神仙，
there was a mystical
可能
island,
寿命在3000年左右，
and maybe the people
如
can
果
live
能
for
寻
a
找
few
到
thousand years.
他就能活3000年。秦始皇下令呢，就去寻找
So what Emperor Qing did was that he ordered Xu Fu
就去了东海。
to venture out there.
可是
So Xu Fu took 3,000 young boys and girls, settling out to the East China Sea to find the legendary Pinglai Island.
他在
But at the end, Emperor Qing lived to 49 years old,
就全国
but he did not achieve longevity. He died while inspecting
当
his
时的那个
empire.
大皇帝哈，想要长生不老，
So he was a great
做了这么多
emperor
努力
during
但
his
是最后
time.
也没有达成心
He
愿
was
哈
not successful
首先要延寿还
to
真
have
不
his
是
wish
特别
fulfilled.
容易的事儿呢。
是啊，
再到后来就是佛门有一位大家都知道
And
的一位
later
高
on,
人，
there's a person that a lot of Buddhists are well aware.
从印度来
It's
的，
Bodhidharma.
这个时候是
He came from India.
1700来年
He was the
1600
founder
年前
of Zen
非常
Buddhism.
过世据说他活到了154岁，
It was recorded that he lived for 154 years.
平均寿命可能就是30岁。
During that time, people probably lived about 30
他
years.
活了这么久
But for him,
神仙啊，
he lived for
是5
154
个人
years.
寿命加起来
That's combinations of 5
到现在也没有
average person.
没听说有这么长寿的人
没有没有。现在
I think in modern days, we have not heard of anyone who lived to such a ripe
对
old
这
age.
个达摩祖师呢，他是佛门一位高人之一
Bodhidharma is a very
这个在
accomplished
中国来之后传的是
cultivators.
禅宗
And he developed Zen Buddhism,
对中国的
and he had a
佛教
profound impact on the development of Zen Buddhism
这个
in
影响
Japan,
是特别大
Korea,
禅宗现在都
and
是
China.
很发达
Even to today, Zen
他
Buddhism
打坐修行
is still developing in many of these countries.
是活了这么久所以他有他的神通妙法这个
So I think he
非
did
常
have his unique method.
现实生活中
In real
应该说
life, do we have some of these longevity elders?
哈，就是近代
Master, I did some research
在美
and
在美国
on the real life longevity elders.
长寿的老人他
And in the US, there's this lady called Sarah Snow. She lived for 119 years and 97 days. She passed on in the year 1999. The daughter, when she was interviewed, was already 96 years old. The daughter says that the mom, Sarah, was a very calm person. She was never anxious or angry. And she felt that that could be the reason why she managed to live such a long age. So that is modern American history. And I think Japan is also well known for longevity. And there's this lady, Ken Tanaka. She lived 119 years and 107 days. She was born in 1903, and she only passed away in 2022. And she's one of the longest living Japanese people known. She maintained a very healthy diet for most of her life, and she loved to solve math problems. And she also practiced calligraphy and played chess to keep her brain active. So she placed great emphasis on daily activities. That's why she lived to such a ripe old age. So these are exceptional human beings that have achieved longevities. The average people, it's very hard to attain that. I think the human being's DNA, if it's perfect, maybe suggests that biologically potential lifespan for humans may be around 100 years. But only very few individuals can live to this age. But why is it so? Because sometimes there are natural disasters, there are actually wars, hereditary diseases, epidemics. They may actually shorten the lifespan. Or sometimes when the person is constantly angry, they may hurt their liver. Or a person is very sad, it hurt the heart. Or the person is working hard and injured the back. So you're lucky if you can live to 70 or 80 years. That is already a reality in history. So we know that the global average lifespan is between 72 to 75. And for developed countries, they have an average life expectancy of over 80 years. And developing countries may have an average lifespan of less than 60s. But actually, a lot of time can take place. Things may take place. It is impossible to live to ripe old age because there may be accidents, there may be misfortunes, and those also take lives. I know a good friend's mom, Auntie Zhang. In her 50s, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She tried very hard to live well. The family tried their best. And they tried to treat her. They spent a lot of money. But eventually, she still passed on. In fact, some people who have some incurable disease, like cancer, they may spend all their money and they may still not be healed. It's impossible to extend the life. So besides just the disasters like because of disease, there are also devastations from sudden disaster. That's something that's impossible to prevent.
这个横事横祸，那就多了哈。
There are many
说过
such
去叫狼
现
给吃了
misfortunes.
对，
现在就汽车给撞了。
In the past, you
哎
may
呀，走
be
路不小心
eaten
一块砖
by
头从
wild
楼上掉
animal.
下来
Now,
啊，甚至
road
还有人
accident
哈
is
洗澡
very
在洗
common.
手间滑一脚，
some
正好
people
摔
may
到
have a
脑
fall in the toilet
这种不是得病
and
啊，
hurt their
就是额
brain.
外的发生一些事故，
And these are some
而
devastating
会致生
accidents that
这
happened.
种几率也挺高的，
Such percentage are also
不
quite
是因
high.
为疾病，
对
也不是因为
So
战
they are
争
not,
对。
they don't shorten their
还有呢，
lifespan
就是我
because
也
of
经常听
disease,
人说哈，
but
就是
because of
年
misfortune.
轻的时候就去算过命啊，可能20、30岁去算个命，那个时候算命其实是为了找对象。
Some people,
本来
even
就
they
是
went to
想
see a
是吧
fortune
最
teller
后
in their
人家的
20s or
命理师给
30s,
你把后面30
trying
年都
to
说了，
find a good
然后有的就说，哎呀，你
potential
可能
marriage,
到
but
60岁
the fortune
就差不
teller may
多
see
了，
something
是算
extras
这样子的
and may
啊。
tell them
但这
that
样
they
子
may
的
not
呢，
be
那
able
他
to
年轻
live
算
till
命的
ripe old
还在
age.
意吧，因为想着还有几十年呢哈。
是，
啊，
嗯，
但很多时候可能真正到了那个关卡的时候，
Sometimes when they reach that important
我
year,
记得之前师
they are
大
not
给我们
able to
讲过一个
overcome
故
it.
事，那个大宅门的导演郭宝
I
昌。
think Master
对
mentioned before
他就是遇
about a
到一个算
director,
命先生给他算的特别准啊，就是说
a
他
well-known,
你的
renowned
这个年
Chinese
纪啊，他会遇到什么
director.
事情啊，包括
So
他
the
被
fortune
领
teller
养啊，
was
然后
able
他
to
入监
predict
狱
his
啊，
life with
然后后来就是又
very
平反
sharp
啊，对，然后
accuracy.
那个算命先生还特别告诉他，他
And
算
the
到60
fortune
岁
teller
就算不
told
出
him
就
that
算不出
when he
来
reached a
了，
certain
对
age,
啊。
it's impossible for them to
所以
make
但是
further
他最
accurate
后可能也是，
predictions.
我相信他也是人生中做了很多好事，帮了
So
人
I think
哈
for him,
他是
he
最
did
后
a lot of
讲
good
这段话
deeds.
的时候，他已经超过了他的
When he
年
said that,
龄了，现在
when he
85
shared
岁
that,
了哈。
he already
他也
lived
是个
past
人
beyond
生
the
的
age
案例，
that
嗯
the
真
fortune
是
tellers
啊
had predicted.
但是就是我们讲到就是疾病啊、灾祸呀哈，
But as we
命
talk
中注定
about
的一些事情
disease
发生的
or
时候，真
disasters,
的想要延寿确实不容
when
易
that
非
such
常
things
困难
happens,
师傅。
it is very difficult to
但是呢，我
extend
相
the
信还
life.
是有很多神圣的方法。
But I
啊
think
神
that there are
奇的
some
方法
very
能够
secret
帮助人
methods
们
that
在
can help
这种劫难来临
help
的
us
时候
to
大
avert
显为
disaster and
避
prolong
难
life.
成祥消灾延寿。嗯，
通常这些方法应该都不是人类自己的方法，
I think these methods
超
are
越
not
人的，
what human beings can imagine. They are something more
才可能有这
profound
样的作用。
and
和推
with
进
some divine help to make that
皇帝想
possible.
延寿都延不了，
And look
一个
at
普通的
Emperor
老
Qing.
百姓
He wanted to
延
extend
寿
his lifespan.
不容易，
He was not successful.
太难了。
If the emperor
但是我们
was
在
not
古代呢，
successful,
经常听
how
到
do you
很多师兄
expect a
姐妹
commoner
也有相
to
同
be
的经
able
历。
to do that?
对，可能也是我们有听过好几个师兄姐之前也
Actually,
去算过命，
Master,
然后
we have
后来
heard
来修
about
行
some
之后，
Dharma brothers
然
and
后就
sisters.
是活过了
They
那个
shared
算命
that
先生
they
说他
went
们
to
会
some
遇到
fortune
劫难
teller
的。
and they managed because they managed to overcome some of the disasters and live beyond what their predicted lifespan.
哎，
So,
对呀
Master,
下
today
面的
we
内容
have
有
some
点猛哈，大家小心
stories
着听，好
to
吧？
share
好的，师傅。
哎
or
来吧
testimonial to share.
那我先来分享哈。
So
一个
let me
来自
share
马
the
来
first
西亚的
one. This
叫
is
尤
from
凡
Malaysia,
她的故
Yu
事
Fan,
法物护佑，死里
and
逃
she
生
was blessings of a sacred
她说
objects that
2020年6
led her
月
to a
20
narrow
号
escape.
我从家乡的
So she
东
said
家
on
罗
June
州
20,
这是在马来的
2020,
东海岸的
she was
一州
planning to
打
drive
算
from her
驱车
hometown
呢
in
回到吉隆
Terengganu
坡的
back
路
to
途
my
大概距离
residence
呀
in
是
Kuala
450
Lumpur,
公里。
and the distance
在
is
这个
about
出发前呢，我
450
心里感
kilometers
觉啊非
away.
常的忐忑不
I
安。
felt very
我
uneasy
不
that
是
day.
刚出门就觉得
Before
自己漏
setting
了东
off,
西要回
I
去
either
拿，
forgot
就是
something
在放东
and
西
had
的
to
时
go
候
back
呢，
for it.
我的头啊就被
Or while
车子的
placing
这个尾
items in the
盖儿啊
car,
狠狠地砸
I
了
hit
一
my
下。
head hard on the
可是因为要
trunk
准备
lid.
下周的工作会议的资料，
However, because I
还
need
是
to
坚
prepare
持
for
当
work
天
meeting the
开
following
车
week,
回去。
I insisted on
正准备
returning
要
that
开车
day.
出发的时候，
Just
我
as I
发
was
现
about to
车
start
上
the
的
drive,
师傅加持的
I
药师
noticed
佛
that the
灵
tassel
力
of
车
the
挂的
medicine
流
Buddha's
苏，那
amulet
个车
hanging
挂
in
下
my
面的小
car
碎碎
had
脱
fallen
落
off.
下来了。我捡起后，
So
依
after
旧
picking it
开
up,
车出
I
发。
continued driving.
在高速公路上行驶了大概1
After
个小
about
时，
an
因
hour
为
on the
当时下
highway,
着雨，我
it
呢还
started
放慢了
raining.
车速。
So
当
I
我经过
slowed
一
down.
段石山开凿出
As
的
I
路段的
passed
时
through
候，
a road
刹
cut
那
through the
间，车
mountains,
子不受控制地
suddenly
向
the
左
car
快
lost
速地偏
control and begin to drift sharply to the left. At that time, I was in the fast lane, so that's the rightmost lane in Malaysia. And despite my effort to steer the brake, nothing worked. I heard a loud crash as the car collided with the rock wall on the left side, and the impact caused the car to flip. As the car flipped, I was tossed around inside, and the blessed jade pendant that I always worn around my neck, named Smooth Sailing by my master, slipped out of my shirt collar. I grabbed the pendant tightly and prayed to Grandmaster JinBodhi, "Master, please protect me. Master, please protect me." Miraculously, the car began to slow down and came to a stop. Hanging upside down, I was restrained tightly by the seatbelt with my head hanging downward. Despite the intense pain in my left hand, I tried to open the door and release the seatbelt, but couldn't do either. In just a few minutes in this deserted mountain road, someone appeared to help me. After cutting the seatbelt, I struggled to free my foot, which has been caught by the shoelace. Finally, with the help of this kind stranger, I was pulled out of the car. We moved a short distance away from the car, fearing it might explode. Only then did I realize that the car was upside down, resting on a clearing next to a rock wall. Several kind-hearted people soon arrived to help. They called an ambulance and the tow trucks, retrieved my important belongings from the car, and even a couple stayed with me at the hospital emergency room until my friends arrived. Only then did they leave. After the doctors examined me, the X-ray showed that I had 2 fractures in my left arm, which required surgery. Thankfully, I was able to see an orthopedic specialist the next day, and the surgery went smoothly. Other than my left hand, a CT scan showed minor rib fractures, but the doctor said they would heal naturally, without the need for surgery. It was truly a blessing amid misfortune. When I calmed down and reflected, I realized how unbelievable it all was. It was my master, who had been protecting me all along. They were warning before I set off, and even after a severe car accident, I survived with only minor injuries. After the accident, despite the rain and darkness, a few kind-hearted people appeared on this isolated route to rescue me from the car and get me to the hospital in time. It was a miracle. About a month after the accident, I noticed that the smooth-sailing jade pendant I was wearing had cracked. I believe this was due to the auspicious blessing power of the Buddha and my master, who shielded me from the disaster. I was incredibly fortunate to be a disciple of Grandmaster JinBodhi. My heart is filled with gratitude.
真是这师姐也是经历了这个起起伏伏的，但是她刚出来的时候，真的是给了她好多次的警示哈。
Actually, she was receiving a lot of Buddha's warning before she left.
先是什么来着？
先是她心里忐忑不安。
First, she felt uneasy before she left. And she needed to return to pick up some items from home. And then her head was hit by the trunk, the lid. Before she left, the medicine's Buddha amulet that she hung in the car fallen off. So these are all signs. These are signs that she's not suitable to leave. Actually, a lot of people like that. You plan to do something, you leave something. You wanted to reach a place by a specific time. The person may feel that she didn't want to change the plan. So sometimes let's contemplate this. Is it better that we miss an appointment, or is it better to have an accident? I think it's better that you miss an appointment. For her, she was lucky. Her life was saved. What if you could take a flight? Maybe if you feel uncomfortable, you shouldn't get on a plane.
傅以前就讲说 check your message 嘛，对，就是
As the master said before, always check your message.
就能收到佛菩萨护佑的
Maybe you
这样的信
receive
息哈
Buddha's
菩
warning.
萨来给我们发信息，我们要听话。
We want to listen to the message.
所以那他这个哈，这位师姐也是，她呢当时带了一个师傅的
And for this Dharma sister, she was wearing a jade pendant.
还赐了名哈，一帆风顺。
And Master has given a name for that pendant,
保住了性命
which is smooth sailing.
这个事故就过去了。但1个月后，这个玉环就裂
But after the month,
啊，就这样的
this
现象
jade
是
pendant
来
cracked. Why did the jade pendant crack?
很容易理解。
It's very easy to
就
understand
在
this.
古代的时候啊，很多不同的法师或者是一些巫师，
So
就帮人
during the
进行
ancient
延寿
time,
的时候哈，过去也有很多延寿呢，它是用动物的
a
寿
lot
命
of people they extend
比
life.
如我们说的现实一些哈，有些人杀了一只鸡，
Say for example, someone killed
有时鸡
A
寿命是
chicken
几年了？香可应该知道，你不是研究动物吗？
几年吧。
how long can the chicken live?
我不是那么知道，10年可能。
I think
不
probably
问
about
什么鸡是吧？
10 years.
这个一般的家里养的鸡
Usually,
哈
those who have
应该
chickens
在
at
5
home,
年到8年吧。
they live between
平均
5
的寿命
to
线
8 years. That's a normal lifespan of chicken.
所以想延寿7、8年的呢，
So if you want to
过去
extend 5 to 8
我知道有巫
years,
师哈
so you
通过
get
把这个
some
鸡的寿命
like
转移给这个活着的人。
they are
那么
able
还有人
to
呢，把牛
perform
羊的寿
some
命
ritual to transfer the
有
age,
一只
the
牛
lifespan of
如果
the
无病
animal
无灾的
to
话，活
humans.
30年没问题。有这样做的。但是呢，如果把这个鸡或者动物的这个生命转嫁给一个人的时候呢，这个动物就得被处死，
So what happens when they do that?
就把它
When they
命给了
transfer
这
the
个人
lifespans means that the animal will have to be
那这个
killed.
我们有些法物保佑你哈，但是因为可能如果说这个法物破裂了，
We have some blessed items to protect you.
这种通常叫做救命。
And sometimes these sacred
如
objects
果这
may
个东西
crack.
没有坏，
And that's because they provided
如果这个
protections
坏
and
了
blessings.
它断裂开了。
If it
那如果
cracked,
一个人呢？你的
what
身体
about
断裂
human
开了
beings?
呢不就
what
完
if
了
the
没
body
命了
cracks? Can you still
就一
survive?
挡灾了
No.
那这个
So
法物
basically,
一
the
挡灾
sacred objects
太值得了。
provide
感恩师
a
傅呀
form
对啊
of
你
shield
请个法物才多少钱
from
呢？
disaster.
对，你
This
挡了
is
灾
worth
了
it.
你现在
How
能
much
吃
is the
能喝
value of
能
this
走能唱
sacred
能跳
objects?
这
对，
多划算呢！
真是一份小小的发心。
对
You just need to contribute a little,
所以1个
but
月
the
之后
returns
它那
you
个
get is
对的它那个
immeasurable.
玉环它裂开了，
嗯，
很好玩哈。1个月之后，
So
当
what's
场还
very interesting in her case is after a month,
很好啊，
the blessed sacred
这才
objects
叫消
cracked.
灾
So
灭
it
难
helped her to get rid of
延寿
calamities and disaster and extend her lifespan.
那师傅啊，这位师姐她怎么就这么的幸运哈？师傅
Master, how is it that she was so fortunate?
的提醒哈，
She
怎么就
constantly
这样
received
提醒
warnings
她还是出发了
and
出发了以后呢
life-saving
出了这么
interventions.
大的事故，轻
But
伤
why
最
did she
重的
continue to
对
go
你看这个
when she already
这个
received
车
the
头都已
warnings?
经压扁了呀
If you look at the
对
pictures,
他在车下
the
面
car
车头
was
下面
very
然后是
badly
倒挂的
damaged.
他就只
四脚
是
朝天
左
对
手稍微有一点
是
骨折
The
啊
entire
肋骨有一点
car
点裂而
flipped.
已啊
She
当
only
时候如果
suffers
她
minor
这个情况啊
injuries.
如果没有人来救她，
And
她
she
就
was
是
also
不
very
能
fortunate
自己出
to
来
reach
了
to
出不
ha-
来对吧
to have some
啊
kind strangers
车子如
appear.
果真的就是油箱漏了、爆炸呀什么的，那真的很可怕。
There's also a risk that there
是
may be a
如果
leak
人救不出
petrol
来的话，会有
and
很
the
多麻
car
烦
may explode.
在受惊吓嘛，甚至还有的人会有些出血啊，还有
In
人
fact,
毕竟习
some
惯于头冲
people-
上嘛，你一直头冲下就受惊吓哈，对，有的是连惊吓带受伤，可
We have-
能会引发别的问题。
Some people may not just have physical injuries, they may also have physical injuries or have some brain damage or concussions. So for her, she was so fortunate that she managed
这个
to
咱就不研究了。
have some
我们
kind
先说
strangers
他
that
撞了
appear.
车了，
啊，
撞了车了，还是最后顺利
So-
送医院，
对，
没有太
For
大
her
的
case,
伤害，
the
这
accident
就
still
是不幸
happens,
中的万幸，
but she only suffered minor injuries.
这就够了哈。 你说来人来救她，
As to
那是还
people
只
that
能说明一
comes
个问题
to
哈，
save her,
毕竟还是白天。
well,
那天还发
luckily
生
it
车祸
was
的
a
时候，是
daytime
下着大
when
雨，
the accident
那个
happened,
天呐是
and
一
it
片
was
漆黑。
raining
啊
heavily.
这个因
So
为
it
雨大
must
嘛
have been
看
the
不清
sky
啊
must
对
have been dark with
还
the
毕竟不
rain.
是晚上，所
So
以呢还
maybe
是有
her
好心
vision
人
was
发
not
现了
very
这个
clear.
情况，才去帮她。哎，
So
所
she
以
was
在
very
马来西
lucky
亚
to
很多人
meet
是
some
很善良的，
kind strangers.
很有修养。
Actually, in Malaysia, there are a lot of
对
people
这
are
世界
very
呢也是
kind.
万幸啊，
So that's why
一条
this
命，
Dharma sister was very
大
lucky
事化小啊，
真是得恭
to have
喜她。
met
是，
the kind
所以
strangers.
她呢，我听说啊，她应该是挺发心哈，
I heard
在
that
坛上
she
做义工哈，
was also a volunteer and
经
she
常供养
also make a lot of
供养道场，
offerings
是这样的一个
and
事情
contributed a lot to the
所以呢，她才
centers
收到
as
那么
well.
多讯息。
And that's why
但是
she
她很执着，
received so
走就得
many
走，
levels of
撞车门得走，
signals.
对吧？就翻了车，你的车都报废了，她人没报废啊，这多好呀！
So for her, the car was very badly damaged, but she only suffered minor injuries.
这个信息
对，多做功德哈，
So it's
佛
important
菩
to
萨会警
continue
示给你的。
to
哎，
build
恭
merits
喜她哈！
东西，感恩
so that
啊
Buddhas, Bodhisattvas will continue to
虽然我
protect
们
her.
时候救了他的命，那他给大家分享了这么好的故事，我们也给他送一个。
So she has such a great sharings. Should we have a gift for
有
her?
法啊。给她个什么呀？
What should we give her?
这个马吧，
How about the
哎
horse?
法种宝马，很漂亮。
That's a
宝马
very beautiful horse.
嗯，再加一个苹果
And also
茶
I have the
壶
apple teapot for her,
哎，这个事业有成哈，
wishing
啊
her
平安吉祥哈，
收到
successful career,
恭喜有法呐。
saved,
嗯，
and auspiciousness.
Ah,
Congratulations to you.
好，师傅，那再给您分享一
So
个
Master, we
是
have
新加坡的
another
故事
stories, and that's from
这位师
Singapore,
姐叫李妙珍，
and it's
师傅
from
分享
Li
师傅
Miao
为
Zhen.
母亲延寿了。
It's how
师傅
Master
您好，
extended
我是
her
来自
mother's
新加
life.
坡的李妙珍
Hello, Master.
我的
I'm
母
Li
亲
Miao
今年
Zhen from
48岁
Singapore.
曾
My
经
mom
经
is
历
78
重
years old and has
非
suffered
常感
5
恩
stroke.
父与佛菩萨的
We're
慈悲
very
加持
deeply
和护佑
grateful for the
帮助母
compassionate
亲消灾
blessings
延
and
寿。
protections from you and Buddhas
在
and
接受菩提上
Bodhisattvas,
修之前，
which
母亲
help
的
to
健康状
dispel
况非常
calamities
不
and
好。
extend her
她
life.
从年轻的时候就爱吃
So
甜
before
食，
discovering
常以
Bodhi
肉类和海
meditation,
鲜为主
my
食，
mother's health had
常
always
以
been
油炸
poor.
食品，
She
并
had
且
the
常多
lifelong
喝
habits
酒。
of eating sweets,
因为这些不
with
良
meat
的
and
饮食习
seafood
惯
as his main
母亲患
diet.
上了糖尿病和
She
高血
often
压
ate fried
需要
food
长
and
期
drink
服药控
Coca-Cola
制。
every day, and due to
2002
these
年，
unhealthy
母
eating
亲56
habits,
岁的时
the
候
mother
第一次中
developed
风，
diabetes
直
and
到
high blood
2019
pressure,
年，
requiring
连续中
long-term
风了4次，
medications.
一次
In
比一次严重。从最初的语言能力
2002,
不
at the
敢
age of
丧失，
56,
说话不
my
清
mom
楚，
had a first stroke.
到双腿无
By
力，
2009,
行
she
动
had
不
suffered 4
便，
more
甚至开始
strokes,
出现抑
and
郁。
each more severe than the
第4次
last.
中风后，她的健康急
Initially,
剧恶
her
化，
speech
身体
becomes
虚弱，
blurred and
稍
she
微
lost
活
part
动
of
就气
ability
喘
to
吁吁，
communicate.
需要依赖轮椅。
Later, her legs
看
became
到母
weak,
亲的健康状
making
况
it
逐渐
difficult
恶
for
化，
her to walk,
我和家人感
and
到
she
无比
eventually
心痛。
developed
尽
depression.
管她已经调整了饮
After
食
her
习
fourth
惯，
stroke, her
但
health
是血糖
deteriorated
和血压
rapidly,
水平
and
依
she
然
became
居高
physically
居高
very
不下。
frail, and she had to
母亲
rely
在
on
2017
wheelchair.
8月份再次
Witnessing
中
my
风，
mom's
这已经是
declining
第
health
5
was
次
very
中风。
heartbreaking for the families.
表面上来看，
Despite
母亲
adjusting
的
her
身体状
diet,
况并没
her
有
blood
明显的
pressure
变化，
and her blood
但
sugar
经
level
过医
remained
生的详
high.
细检查后发现，
In
她在
August
左颈，她的
2017,
左
she
颈血
suffered
管
her
已经
fifth stroke.
阻塞了
Although her
80到
condition
90%
didn't seem to
左
change much
右颈的
outwardly,
血管也阻塞
after
了
a
40到
detailed
60%。
examination, the doctors
母亲
found
想接
that her
受
left
手
artery
手术
was
输管
80 to
疏通血
99%
管，
blocked,
但主治
and
医
the
生
right
认为
artery
她的
was
心
40 to
脏状
60%
况不
blocked.
适合再进行任何手术。
And she
手
wanted
术
to
后变
undergo
成植物
surgery
人
to
的
clear
风
the
险非常
blockage,
的高。
but her
最终，
cardiologist
医
deemed her
生取
heart
消
too
了
weak
手
for
术，
surgery,
并建议我们
warning the
多陪
risk
伴
to
母亲，
becoming a
告诉我
vegetable
们
was very
她只
high.
有2到3年的寿命。
Ultimately, the doctors cancelled the
当时，全
surgery
家人几
and
乎崩
advised
溃。
us to spend
我
more
还
time
是母
with her,
亲，她还
estimating
保
that
持
she
着
has
乐
2
观
to
的
3
心态，
years to
还
live.
说：“师傅
At
一定
that
会救
time,
我的。”
our family was on the verge of
当
collapse,
时，母
yet
亲的
my
血
mother
糖指
remained
数在10到
optimistic,
12
saying
之间，
Master will
已
save
经
me.
属于高血糖的那
At
个
that
范围。
time, my
后
mom's mom's blood sugars level range was between 10 to 12, and the normal range is for those in their 60s is 7 to 9. And doctors require her to inject 32 units of insulin daily. Her blood pressure also reached 145. And the doctor's recommendation is to keep it around 130. Unable to sit for a long time, my mother could not care for herself in daily life. So my family and I would hope that she could spend her remaining day happy. So I decided to bring her to the center every Sunday for the next 2 years, where she visited the centers. So in August 2019, the meditation center had this 1,000 people chanting Buddha's names class, and I signed my mom up, hoping that she could try meditation. After the course concluded, my mom was very grateful to have learned the teachings of Master, and in the last stage of her life, she diligently practiced 3 hours daily. 3 months later, my mother and I had the good fortune to travel to Taiwan to take refuge under the Master. A week before taking the refuge, Master was personally teaching an advanced meditation class, during which a special Golden Words project was conducted. I was very fortunate to fill out form on behalf of Mom to apply for the participations. During the live broadcast, Master read her name 3 times. First was Chai Mutan, and then that was her name, but she read it mistakenly as Chai Dujuan, and then corrected it to Chai Mutan, and finally read it as Mutan Chai. So my mom was overjoyed that Master had read her name 3 times, feeling she had received special blessings from him. When I reflect on this, I realized that 2019 was the time the doctors had predicted would be the end of my mom's life. We firmly believe it was Master's blessings and the golden words that extended her life. In August 2021, Master taught the Earth Soul Bodhisattva's Sutra to online followers. Each time, we heard Masters emphasize the importance of karma. Both my mother and I felt deeply remorse. My grandfather, second uncle, and father all make a living by selling pork. So a short lifespan seemed to run in the family, with them all living to an average of only 65. After listening to Master's teaching, we realized the profound impact of the karma of killings on our family's lifespan. As a result, my mother and I frequently chant Buddha's name, dedicating their merits to our ancestors and karmic creditors. We also continued to accumulate blessings by lighting lamps, commissioning Buddha statues, chanting scriptures, and inviting sacred objects for protections. Over these years, my mother had continued to practice the meditations of great illuminations and do chanting. Her health steadily improved. By 2023, my mother's blood sugar has dropped to the normal range. As a result, the doctors reduced her insulin intakes to 20. Additionally, her blood pressure dropped to the doctor's recommended range of 120 to 135, and her daily medication was reduced from 22 pills to just 10. So from the doctor's prediction that she has only 2 to 3 years, she extended her life. Now her health and mind have dramatically improved. She went from getting breathless chanting for 20 minutes to be able to chant for an hour without any difficulties. Her weight also dropped from 70 to 63, and making her feel lighter. Her speech also significantly improved. Whereas before she had difficulty speaking clearly, now her expression is coherent, her thoughts are well organized, and her attitude has become more optimistic and positive. My mother has found a new purpose in life. She treasures every day of her practice, chanting for the well-being of her children and grandchildren, praying for the family's peace and health. So my mother and I are immensely grateful to Master, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So she is also very fortunate to be able to extend the life due to Master's blessings. I remember that she had some stroke. Yes, she had 5 times stroke. In fact, some people may not even have the chance to have stroke for 5 times. In fact, during the later stage, her arteries were almost blocked. One of the arteries was blocked 80 to 90%. She is actually at a very high risk because she has this heart disease. And that's why the doctor says that her remaining lifespan will probably 2 to 3 years. But after she joined Bodhi and after years of practice, she became better.
师父念了她的名字3次，给她
And she was
大
so happy that Master has called her name 3 times. And she said that, well, she has received special blessings from Master. She truly believed in it.
蔡牡丹，师傅先说蔡杜鹃，
So Master starts by saying Cai
其实师傅就是
Du
在说
Juan. She said, is that me?
对，她就收到了这份
So
大
she
加
just
持
received
她收到了
orders,
3次啊
and she actually received 3 times.
对，所以她也就，然后接下来就一直，他们也是做功德啊，包括
And after
修
that, they continued
炼
to
是念佛念
accumulate
到
merits,
结果
and they
她
also
也做
performed
了7
chanting.
年
是。
还不得
他当然
了
就是他最重要的，他相信师傅，还有呢，就是他跟师傅学习了。
For her, I think most importantly, she believed in Masters, and she learned from Masters, and she continued with her spiritual practice and accumulate
前面
merits.
是卖猪肉的哈。
对，
What does the
他的
family
上
do?
上辈人
So the
那
family
这
is
过去
in
卖猪肉
the
和
is a
现在卖
butcher.
猪肉不一样。
是
我觉得越往过去的时候卖猪肉哈，为了多赚钱，恐怕自己得杀猪才能卖肉。
I think in the past, the way they kill is they have to personally kill it.
就是杀好的肉来卖哈。
Now, a lot of the people that sell the pork, they don't actually have to perform the actual killing personally.
哎，
They just buy part pork and sell
这个爷爷
as a retailer.
你看医生都说，就是2、3年的时间了。
So even the doctor predicted that she could only live for 2 to 3
孩
years.
子一听吓坏了。
So the moment when the child heard that,
传堂来了。
the child was afraid.
妈妈喜欢去禅堂，就天
So
天
because the mom likes to go to the center, so she brought the mom to the
结果
center.
呢，又参加我们的课程学习，
She joined the
修
class,
炼
对
she
后来
participated
又
in the
懂得做功
program,
德
and she understands the importance to accumulate merits
不断的
to clear her calamities.
供灯啊，
And she also
对
did some
这些
like
冤亲债
offerings.
主去做功德，希望能够化解这样的冤哈，解冤释结哈。对，母亲每天修炼，你看她年纪大，每天坚持修炼3到4个小时。
So for her, although she continued her practice 3 to 4 hours on the daily basis.
身体比7年前就医生宣布还有2、3年的时候好的。
So if you look at her body, she seems much healthier than
糖尿
before.
病啊、血压的指标哈，所有的药都减到很少。
So she even reduced her medications.
啊，
对，而且当时其实那个医生也说没太有办法嘛，就
对
只能这样，因为他已经特别严重的中风，所以在这个关键的时刻，
So
如果没
during
有
this
师父
important
没有
time,
佛菩萨的话，
If it's not because of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas,
突破这
it
个
is very difficult for her to break through.
就是告诉一个患者
Usually, when the doctors tell a patient that the person that only have 2 to 3 years lifespan, they speak because from past experience.
对，那母亲所以非常的幸运。
So the mom was actually very
得
fortunate
到了师傅这样的大加
to
持。
receive
那我们
Master's
也回顾一
special
下
blessing.
记得师傅之前有一次跟我们有讲过，怎么样能够得到药师佛的
I think
保佑
Masters
哈
ever says
有
that
几个特别
how
关
to
键的
receive
点
the
哈
protections
因为
of
经常
medicine
有
Buddhas.
听我们这些真实的案例，其实
And Master have shared
我
with
们
us.
很多的这个网友他们得到了这样的消灾延寿
And
的
some of
这样
them,
的益处，他们
they
到底是
received
做了
that
哪些呢？哈，对，当时师父
protections
就
from
讲
medicine
首先啊我们
Buddhas.
要相信药师佛
So
说的
Master
话
says that the first thing is that we must believe in the words
那
of
第
the
二点呢
medicine
就是
Buddha.
养佛
And secondly,
做这样
we
供
must
养
offer it to the medicine
我们
Buddha.
相信佛，我们知道佛是
So
最
we
慈
believe
悲
in
的
Buddhas,
所以我们要去
believe
供
in
养
medicine
佛
Buddhas.
第三我们
So
再来
secondly, we
信
must
仰
offer it to
信
medicine
仰
Buddha.
就是更绝
And
对的
third
相信
is to have
仰
faith,
望和依靠
and that is
啊
absolute
我觉得
belief,
这一点他母亲做得
reverence,
特别好
and
在
reliance.
医生宣布他只有2、3年的时候，
So when the
他说
doctors
没问题，师傅会帮我
proclaimed
的
that she only can live for 2 to 3 years, she was full of confidence that Master will guide her, will help to prolong her life. That's because she has very deep
虽然
faith.
认识师傅的时间很晚哈
Although she knows Master for a very short period of time,
那第四呢
but
就是
she
要
has
念
absolute
佛哈
belief.
经常念佛所以
And
这一点他母
fourth
亲
is
做得也好
chanting.
跟师傅学
And
法之后
chanting, after you learn from
会念佛
Master,
修炼达
you
到
learn the
啊
importance to chant the
一定
Buddha's
非常
name.
传播药师
And
佛的功
constant
德和
remembrance brings
那我相信他
insight
母亲不断
and
地去供养
disasters
道场啊
relieved.
供养我们的这个传法呀、网络的这样的弘法呀，就已经在起到了去把这个师傅讲的法传播给更多有
And
缘
then
人
she
啊
also
这样的
believed
作用
in respect and
所以怎么样
adequate
得到药
offerings
师
can
佛的所有
present
的证明他
disaster.
母亲都做到了
So she spread the merits and benefits of the medicine Buddhas. So she has done all this.
也非常感恩师傅啊，感恩药师佛。
Thank you, Master. Thank you, medicine
那师傅，我们
Buddha.
也送给这位老人
So,
家
Master, shall we have a present for her as well?
好的，
Yes, we could.
分享他故事的女儿。
好。
好。
送给他
So this is for her.
啥呀？
It's a Monkey King Sun Wukong.
这个这是
It's a
女儿
teapot.
分享的哈。
对，
还有一个东西给他女儿，
And there's something for the daughter as well.
这个给女儿吧。
How about this for the daughter?
帮妈妈哈。
The Zen teapots, the Monkey King Zen teapot.
自在佛哈，
So there is a pendant.
真的好精美啊！
白玉髓挂坠啊，
This is a jade
老人家
pendant.
佩戴的哈，保他出入平安。
There's a Matthias Buddha's agate pendant, wishing her saved, peaceful, and auspicious.
下来我们再听一位网友的故事好吗？
好，
So shall we listen to another story?
我
我们来听听。
今年2024年的2月尾的时候呢，妈妈骑摩托跌倒了，当下我就很紧张，然后我就很害怕，马上就去问妈妈。
At the end of February, shortly after the Chinese New Year, while I was at work, I suddenly saw my brother send a message saying that my mom's fell off her motorcycle and her collarbone was dislocated and she was treated in the hospital.
真的很幸运的，当下是没有任何的车辆。
So she was lucky that when she fell down, there was no car beside her, because if there was a car beside her, she could have been knocked down by the car.
的时候才知道说，妈妈不只是就是表面看到的这个右锁骨断而已。
So not only
是6根
she had the collarbone
而
dislocated,
且这个断的情况是，其中一个肋骨呢，它是错位，
one
到
of
了肺部有一点小出血。
so there was actually some blood clot as well.
严重的。在接受了这个一系列的治疗过后，医生也说，妈妈只能够靠她自己康复。
And after some treatment, the doctor says that she needs
她呢才
to
能够
rest well
恢复到她
and she have to take at least a year before she can have a full
个
recovery.
人的情况都是非常的痛，一直都处于那种痛。
So when she returned home, she could barely move out of bed, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and in pain in her ribs make it impossible to even lift her hands. So I chanted very sincerely the Medicine Buddha's heart mantra, hoping for Medicine Buddhas to bless my mother. But a miracle happened. Within just 3 months, my mother's condition significantly improved. From without able to lift the arms to able to lift the arms much higher. It was barely a few months. And even that's something that even the doctors couldn't believe, how flexible her shoulders and arm had become. And for me, I was very clear that it was because of Medicine Buddha guiding and protecting her.
所以当妈妈烧好的时候呢，我们就聊一下，哎，为什么当初会发生这样的事情？
So after the mom becomes better, we had a discussion with the mom as to why this thing happened.
运势怎么样啊？算命先生就跟他说，
So later,
今年
the mother told me that before the new year, she has gone with some friends to consult a fortune teller about her luck for the year.
很紧张，他很害怕
The fortune teller said that there would be a major accident involving some bloodshed, and if she wasn't careful, could be fatal.
没有想到就在新年
However, my mother was so busy with preparations for the Chinese New Year that she brushed off the warning and forgot about it.
是有到这个什么样
So after the conditions improved, she went to a temple to ask for the spirit why,
时候呢，
to ask the deities why this happens.
旁边是有
The medium told her that several spirits had been waiting by the roadside to take her life. They were essentially there to claim her life.
串联了整件事情过后，我就回想起来，哎，新年的
Looking back,
正好就是
I suddenly realized that during the New Year, my mother had rare 3 days off, and I brought her to the meditation center to volunteer for those 3 days.
因为这3天的
Now, reflecting on the entire event, I believe that perhaps it was the merits accumulated from those 3 days of volunteering and the offerings of lamps to Medicine Buddhas that transformed what could have been a fatal accident into a smaller misfortune.
让他可以那么
I am deeply grateful to Medicine Buddha and Master for their compassionate protection, which allowed my mom to safely overcome this great ordeal and recover quickly.
感恩药师佛，感恩师父。
Thank you, Medicine Buddhas. Thank you, Master.
真的是好故事啊！这个母亲也是经历了 就是听起来小鬼来索命这样子的
对
夺命的。
It seems that the spirits are out to get her mother.
但是呢，我就想看，就是他之前过年之前才专门算了命哈，这个算命师算的可是真准呐。
对，
Master, the fortune teller was very accurate in the
没有，
prediction.
我问了这个，后来问了这个佩玲，她说其实就是他们家附近找了一位算命师，也没有那么知名，因为他们也不。
So I asked, is that a very popular fortune teller?
妈妈也是自己
And Pei Ling told me that no, it's just a very
所以说就是
someone that's in the village,
算的啊，就
not an exceptionally
准
啊，说有师
popular
傅
one.
在哈，
But she was very accurate. But he was very accurate in his
那个
prediction.
师傅说，很可能会要命的
对，
啊。
所以当时他发生那个车祸，其实也挺悬的。就是他说，他就突然间也没什么身体不舒服，突然间就眼前一黑，
对，
就倒下去了。
然后其实就是从车上摔下去。
Actually, what happened to her was that she fell down,
都摔断了，所有
but
都
she
摔断
broke.
就是可
Her collarbone was dislocated and affected one of the ribs.
你看，如果说那个肋骨断了，就刺到就周围的。
Actually, if the rib bones or the collarbone broke, it may puncture the lungs,
这个真的
and
是
that
要
can
命
be
的
quite
是
scary.
要命的。
啊，
你
And
忘
it
了
may
后来
claim her
他
life.
去庙里头，
对，
那里头通灵的人叫吉童
鸡
哈，
童啊，
吉童说
So
呢
the mom
那个
went to
路
the
上
temple,
很多个小
and
鬼
the
等
medium
着索命，
told her that there were few spirits there waiting for her, waiting to claim her life.
我就走了。
哦
这，样
可以这样的。
其实有很多河呀，还有一些湖泊呀，
Sometimes
一些海边
in
呐
river,
甚至
in the
山的一
sea,
些悬崖哈，
or in the some
都
of
会
the
有这
cliff,
样的东西。
there are such spirits there.
那他妈妈真的是
所以他妈那摔下去那一下，
啊，
应该是本来是要命的
本。来是
Actually, for the
对
mom,
呀，小鬼的工作没完成。
when she had a fall, it was to claim the life.
对呀，
没要成命。
但是妈妈摔得也挺重的。
But the spirit was not successful to claim her
告
life.
诉他，就是他这种情况可能要1年才能好。
至少1年
至少
啊。
The doctor told her that she needs probably a year to recover.
也特别孝顺嘛，一直为妈妈点灯，然后还为妈妈念佛。
She was very filial. She always
康复得非常地快
offered lights for on behalf of the mother. And also, she also participated in some activities, volunteering activities, as well as accumulate merits.
不但捡回来一条命，而且还很快就恢复了。对。但是后来你看，佩玲有讲到，她就回忆起来了，说，哎，当时算命师给妈妈算命之后呢，妈妈可能也是觉得太好哈，有这样的事情，就和她来禅堂做了3天的。
Maybe the mom, after heard what the fortune teller said,
3天
she went to the center to become a volunteer for 3 days.
3天义工。
That's very good. To be volunteers for 3 days is better than not doing volunteers at all.
那会不会这3天义工就起作用了呢？
Is it effective that she becomes a
可能。
volunteer for 3 days?
要不然的话，真的是哈。
对，
I think it
碰到这样的
is.
情况真的很难讲，然后关键是不光救了命之后，佩玲为妈妈做功德，康复也让她感觉非常的神奇，医生都觉得神奇啊。
所以
是
虽然他还是遇到了那个劫难，就是那个算命先生跟他
Although she continued to,
呃
she had this
康复得
misfortune,
其实也就
but she was
没有
able to
太大的
overcome
生命
it
危
within a
险
very
就
short
是
span
后
of
来他也
time.
是现在也是健康，
对，
对，
挺
所以
好的
就是大事化小，小事
是
化无。
其实相信，因为她妈妈还是刚接触，
Because the daughter chanted and
过
offered
时间
lamps,
长一点
she
哈
had a
多来
swift
修行
recovery.
啊多来发心，多来做义工，可能遇到这样的劫难的时候，会更小哈，是不是师傅？就是可能受到的伤害会更少。
没错。
So people who becomes a volunteer, maybe if they accumulate merits, maybe the misfortunes will reduce significantly.
这个做义工这个时间，还有发心，还要做供养啊等等的，这个多少它是有差别的。
Actually, there's a difference how much you give or how much you volunteer. Maybe it can help to
这件事就是摩托车
extend
摔
their
了
life.
还真是。
都是可能的呀。
Maybe the person may fall down from the motorcycles and have very little injuries.
相比之下，他车祸是不重的，但是他人摔得很惨。
对
对，所以这个多做功德和少做功
So
德，
for her,
还有不做功
it
德，
shows that it's important to accumulate merits. There's a difference whether you accumulate merits or not.
给的这种预警的时候，还是要赶紧去。
And especially when there are some predictions, you must quickly accumulate merits
尤其是年轻人啥都不在乎。
But a lot of time, the
就是
young people don't
在
believe.
马来西亚很多华人还是信的。
Actually, in Malaysia, a lot of
遇到
Chinese
几
still
位这个
believe in
穆
it.
斯林的人开着车啊，做司机的那个，我看也是带着什么天珠啊在手腕上。
I've
脖子
seen
上
some Muslim,
我问他你
they
信吗
also
他
wear
信的
beads, and they also wear the zibits. And I asked them, you
但是我
believe?
们说
And
就
they
是
said
这个
yes.
命理师哈，其实我们经常也会碰到。
So we talk about
形形
fortune
色色的哈
tellers.
不同的哈，确实是是有人是会骗人的哈。
In
但是
fact,
我觉得
it's true that some
应该
fortune tellers
命
may
理师应
cheat,
该
may
不会乱
lie,
说话，应该也不敢乱说话
but
的。
most of them, they wouldn't dare to make
而且
wrong,
就是像他的这个情况
inaccurate
确实是
predictions.
说准了呀。
对呀。
In her
啊
case, the prediction was
很多
eerily
讲算命师都
accurate.
说的是很准的啊。
对，就像那个流年运势嘛，就是有时候碰到一些年份，可能我们跟当年的那个太岁有犯冲翻克啊。
对。
It is just like during the beginning of every change in the zodiac year, there are some specific zodiac may have to do some merits in order to overcome some misfortunes for the year. And for those who believe in it, when they do it, the misfortunes will be reduced, the calamities will be
命理
reduced.
师他们也要遵循他们所信仰的道哈。对他们做这个行业，给别人去说出他们的命运，其实如果随便乱讲的话。
So actually for fortune tellers,
啊
they will try their best to
所以
make
如
as
果真的遇到
accurate
命理师
prediction
讲
as
哎呦
possible.
今年有血光之灾，真的是要赶紧
So if they
做
make some form
来
of
做义工
predictions,
来点灯来供养佛菩萨
you heard that there are some predictions that are not so good, you should quickly take some actions
感恩师傅
to accumulate
师傅来
merits to
给
prevent
和他的母
the
亲
misfortunes
礼物好吗？
from happening. Master, shall we give her some present as
套
well?
茶具哈。哎
This is a
来
tea
满满
set
好，
吉祥
with a
快乐
teapot.
到感恩师
感恩
傅。
师傅。
好，那接下来呢，再给师傅分享一位来自马来的。
Master, we have another sharing
他的这个故
from
事
Malaysia.
白白切除了子宫，我们来听一听哈。
It's about removing her uterus.
我在30岁的时候
Hello,
有一位
Master.
香港的命
When I
理
was
师
30 years
帮我
old, a
算
Hong Kong
命
fortune
他算到
teller
我
read my
50多
fate.
岁的时候呢，就算不
He
下去
predicted that
他
around
说
my
我
50s, he
50多
couldn't
岁
read beyond
会有
that,
性命攸关的大
indicating
患
that
难
I would encounter a life-threatening
但是呢，他又
challenge
说不
in my
出是
50s.
50几岁
But he couldn't
我听后
specify
不以为然
exactly
因为
when.
那个时候我还很
I
年
didn't
轻
take it seriously at that time because I was young and busy, and I eventually forgot about
2014
it.
年到了我50岁的时候
In 2014,
我每天呢
when I
就
turned
是昏
50,
沉
I was constantly fatigued,
那
sluggish,
年呢我还
and
时
often
常便秘
constipated,
3-4天才排便
going 3 to 4
脸上
days
陆续
without
长
a
了
bowel
很多
movement.
黑斑身体
I
也
also
是变得
developed
很
many dark
差
spots
看
on
了
my
中西
face.
医都没有效果
I
到了
visited both
2015
Chinese
年
and
我
Western
51岁的
doctors,
时候呢
but
因
none
为
of their
介绍
treatment
我
worked.
来到了甲洞菩提
In
禅
2015,
参加
at
菩提
age
禅修的健
51,
身
my
班
sister introduced
在
me
健
to the
身班的
Kapong
第
Bodhi
4天
Meditation
我们
Center,
一起诵
where I
念
attended
星
the
咒的时候
meditation
我感
class.
受到一股强
On the
大的
fourth
能
day,
量
while chanting
迎
the
面而
medicine
来
Buddha's
把
heart
盘
mantra,
坐的我
a
给
strong
推倒了
energy surged
倒下
towards
后
me,
我感觉
pushing
身
me
体里
over
有
while
一
I
股
was seated
灰
in
色的气流就
meditation.
好像龙卷风
As
一
I
样
lay there,
从我的
I
头
felt
顶
a
和
grey
手
stream of air
冲了
swirling
出
like a
去
tornado from the top
然
of my
后
head and
我感到前
hands
所未有的
rushing
轻
out.
重我之前的
Then
昏
I
沉
felt a
疲
likeness
倦
I'd
感
never
都没有
experienced
了
before.
从这以后
The
我就经常
sluggishness
会
and
诵念
fatigues
药师佛
disappeared.
心咒与
From
药师
then
佛
on,
相应
I continued to
在
chant the
健身班
medicine
的第
Buddha
5
heart
天
mantra
我聆听了金
and
菩提
felt
大师
in
的
tune
开
with
示
medicine
如何
Buddha.
做功德可以改变命
On
运
the fifth day of the
从这开
class,
始为
I
全
listened
家
to a
人点
teaching
灯
by Master
供佛
JinBodhi
祈
and
愿他
learned
们
that
都能做
performing
到
merits
佛
can
光的
change
护佑
one's fate.
健身班之
I
后
began
我
offering
经历
lamps and
崩
make
溃
offerings to
便秘
Buddhas,
消失了
praying for my
脸上的
families to
黑斑也
receive the
没有
Buddha's
了还
protections.
有了光泽
After the
先生每
class,
天送我来
my
上
energy
课
improved,
他看
my
到了我的
constipation
身体的
resolved,
变化
and the
说我变美
dark
了
spot on the
我听了
face
心里
disappeared,
很开心
and my
我每天
complexions
都这样
becomes
去修炼
radiant. My husband,
转眼
who
时
drove
间
me
到
to
了
the class every
2022
day,
年
noticed the
6月
change and
我
was
51
overjoyed.
岁了
And I
那一年
committed to
我
my
例行
practice
做
every
妇科
day.
检查
In
可是
June
检查后医
2022,
生
at
很
age
严肃地
58,
告诉我
I
自己
went
不太
for a
好
routine
就让我再去
gynecological
做一次子
examinations,
宫取样
and
检
the
查
doctor
确
found
认
an issue with my
取样的
uterus.
结果是我
They
被确
performed a
诊为子
biopsy,
宫癌而
and the
且
result
已
showed
到
that I
了
had
第
uterine
2、3期
cancer, already
子
in
宫癌
stage
一共
2 to
最
3.
高的就是第4期
So the survival rate at stage 3 is only 30 to 35%. So the doctor urged me to undergo surgery as soon as possible. Though disheartened, I accepted the need for surgery. The doctor warned me that it would be a major operation, so I prepared myself mentally. I rushed to the Kapong Bodhi Meditation Center and lit a 49-day slam for Medicine Buddha, myself, and my karmic creditors. I prayed for Medicine Buddha's protections, asking to avoid disaster and for a smooth surgery. After lighting the lamps, I felt a peace. On the morning of June 18, I was wheeled into surgery at 9. I continuously chant the Medicine Buddha's heart mantra. After the anesthesia took effect, I knew nothing more. When I woke up, the nurse told me that I had been unconscious for the entire day. The doctor later examined me and said that I lost too much blood during the surgery and instructed me to rest and avoid movement. By the afternoon, I wasn't able to get off bed, but I requested to be discharged. I went home on the 3rd day and practiced diligently. On the 10th day, I drove to the hospital to follow up. The doctor was surprised by my excellent recovery and said that during the surgery, there was a hemorrhage which has been extremely dangerous. I was shocked to hear that, and it could be life-threatening. I realized that Medicine Buddha's protection had saved me. The doctor also told me a good news. The biopsy showed no cancer cells. The doctor was astonished and said that he had never encountered such a case. He couldn't explain it. Had I undergone surgery for nothing, losing my uterus in vain? But the news of no cancer cell was more precious than anything else. On July 7th, my son had his wedding registration. Families and friends gathered to congratulate us. But when I told them I had undergone major surgery less than a month earlier, they couldn't believe it because I looked so healthy. My brother, even though I was joking, I thought to myself, it was Medicine Buddha's protections and everything's different. Later, I heard fellow practitioners share stories about Medicine Buddha's extending life. I suddenly remembered the fortune teller that I met when I was 30. He had predicted I would encounter life-threatening events in my 50s and I would potentially lose my life. I thank Medicine Buddha's and Master protections that I managed to survive and expand my life. I quickly went to Meditation Center and make a major offering for the permanent offerings to Medicine Buddha, expressing my deep gratitude for his life-saving grace. In September 2024, at the age of 60, I attended the Level 2 Bodhi meditation class and I was deeply moved by Master JinBodhi's great compassion. And I make a vow to follow him and help others. My life now belongs to Buddha, and I want to help as many people as possible. Thank you, Grandmaster. This is another one who, according to fate, the fortune teller made inaccurate predictions. She was supposed to suffer a serious illness and possibly lose her life. So when she was diagnosed, she was at a stage 3 cancer. And because of that, she went for operations. And she experienced a hemorrhage, which is also dangerous. But luckily, before the surgery, she quickly go and accumulate some merits. So she went to make like offerings, and she also chant. And in the end, the cancer cell miraculously disappeared. Could the doctors make a mistake? I don't think so, because she did 2 check-ups. She even did a biopsy, and then that also showed that there's cancer cells. And I know that in Malaysia, they always go to private hospital to look for reputable doctors to carry out this. But why is it that during the biopsy, the test shows that she has cancer cells, but after that, when she removed the uterus, the cancer cell miraculously disappears? I think it's because of the blessings of Master and medicine Buddhas.
就被佛光照耀了，然后就
The
没有了。
the cancerous cells have been illuminated by medicines Buddhas, and it is this great compassionate illuminations that miraculously cause the cancer cell to disappear.
那这个消息比什么都好。
对呀
I think that's the most precious news.
恩呐，
对对对，
对
嗯，
对，那师姐也是非常诚心哈，她明白这都是药师佛师父的护佑啊，那跟随师父。
So she is also very
其实我有跟她
sincere,
聊过来哈，她说
and she understands that doing good deeds can reduce the severity of these
在
calamities.
禅堂去服务众生，
So she knows and she wants to continue her volunteer work at the center.
一定能长寿吉祥的哈。那师父呀，就是你看师姐她这个命中哈。 算命师说她确实50多岁会有。
So Master, the
那她
fortune tellers predicted that she will only live to in her 50s.
我觉得
Do
通常是
fortune teller make things up?
就是算命的先生哈，
Usually,
他不是信口胡说，
the fortune tellers don't make things up.
真正
They
算
don't
命的
usually
先
say
生
things just to
他不是说
please people.
逢人说好话，像那个商店的做销售的
They are
人
not
一
like
样
those that doing
相当于
sales
赞美
in the
东西
shop.
目
They
的
will
把东
praise
西卖
you
给你
and then before they sell a product to you.
算
No.
命人家算的就吉凶
So
祸福
for fortune tellers,
人要的就是
they
知道
are
说
trying
未
to
来
make
可能要
predictions
发生
whether
的
is it good
无
or
论
bad.
好的和不好的，
They will say
那么
what
好的呢，
they think.
我们暗自高兴；不好的
If
呢，
it's good,
就
they
怎
feel
么想
happy.
办法解决。
And if they heard something is bad, if the
还不能
prediction is
多
bad,
说还不能乱说
and they
这
will
是
have
一
to
个有
think of
道
a
德
way
的
out.
算命师。
So there are certain professionalism requires
其
as
实他如果
well.
算的
So
就是这样的，
if
那他就如实的告诉你。
the prediction shows
这个
that
能不
it
能
is
破解
not
和改
good,
变
they will
这是另外的
speak
事
the truth.
有时候算命师改变不了。
They speak what they believe in.
只能告诉你，
They cannot speak recklessly for profit,
通过做功德，
or it would violate the heavenly principles.
师姐她做功德真的是
Their calculations are not based on emotions,
那有
but on objective analysis.
就是说就不经历这样的灾难呢？
But are these calamities bound to happen?
比如说
Yes,
拿这个
They usually
车祸来
happens.
说
Say, for
比
example,
如说
car
同样我这个
accidents.
车哈，到了那儿变坏了，
If the car
哎，
reached a
坏掉
certain
了
place
走不了了，
and it couldn't
或
move,
者被别人撞了一下，
or someone
人
may
什么
hit the
事儿
car,
没有
the person
可
may
是
be
车
fine,
坏了，但
but
是
the
这件事
cars
情要发生。
be damaged.
你看咱们第一个这个
是
世界这个
有
有
反事件
反那个哈，
啊，
那车都报废了，
So if you looked at the earlier Dharma sister story that we talk about, the car is completely damaged from the accidents.
就是你越有福呢，越有功德呢，
If you have
就是你
more
这个
good
灾
fortunes,
害的改变的就
it
越
will
大
be able to change the
也就是
destined
这个事发生
calamities.
因为这是已经是注定的，
Because it is
But
it is destined, the calamities
是
is
由功德
destined.
决定。
But the degree, the severity of these calamities will be dependent on the person's merits.
救了他一命，给了他新的人生
是，
哈。
所以师姐说，从今以后也要就好好在
So for these Dharma sisters,
更多的
she make a commitment that she will practice diligently going forward, and she will also continue to volunteer at the center.
师傅，我们也送他一个礼物好吗？
Shall we have a
好，
gift
好
for her as
恭
well?
喜敏澈哈，
Sure.
好，用这把壶，这莲花壶哈，
So this is the
健
lotus
康长寿，
teapot set for you, wishing you health, longevities, and
最后呢，我再
auspiciousness.
给您分享一个来自美国的一个师姐的故事。
Master, we have another story from the
在
States.
2008年的时候，我和两位
In
一位
2008, I and two fellow
在温哥华
practitioners,
国际禅堂
one is
参加了
Zhang
健身
and one is Chen, participated in a class at the Vancouver Meditation Center. Because we came from the US, we were fortunate enough to be seated in the front row, very close to Master. That afternoon, Master told us many stories about how sacred objects provide protections and show us some objects on hand. And one of them was a jade guanyin pendant. He showed the chains and repeatedly said, "This is life-saving, life-saving." Master gaze lingered on Sister Zhang beside me, as if he was specifically addressing her, speaking with extra seriousness. I was startled and felt that Sister Zhang might indeed need these sacred objects for protections. but she appeared healthy and energetic in her 50s, and never heard of her having any health issue. Nevertheless, I gently nudged her, hinting at the specific significance of the pendant. After all, a sacred object personally blessed by the Master surely carries immense power. However, she only smiled and didn't seem to take it seriously. At that moment, Sister Chen stood up and said, "Master, I would like to request this Bodhisattva pendant. I have a severe heart condition and hope this Bodhisattvas will protect me. I will wear it close to my chest all times." I felt happy for Sister Chen because her heart disease had troubled her for years and the doctors had warned her to be extremely cautious. So this is the reason why she joined this class. After that, we returned to the US and resumed our daily life. Due to work, I left the country for a period. A year later, when I returned to the meditation center, I was shocked to hear that Sister Zhang had passed away unexpectedly in an accident just 2 months after returning to the US. At that moment, the scene of the Master shaking the pendant flashed in my mind, as if fate had given us a warning. But none of us noticed. It turned out that the pendant was truly meant to save Sister Zhang's life. As for Sister Chen, who had requested the pendant blessed by Master, her heart condition never relapsed. She continued to practice meditation diligently, her health improved greatly, and she felt deep gratitude for the Master's protections. This event made me deeply aware of the impermanence of life. We never know what fate will task us. I am grateful for the protections of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Perhaps Master had already seen the sign of the future, but all we can do is to be more mindful in the present and have a heart filled with gratitude and acceptance. So I think Sister Zhang was unfortunate. During that time, Master showed the pendant and actually showed to her. But at the point in time, she probably didn't realize it. She probably doesn't realize Master's effort. We see that Master sometimes, when he meets people at the centers, he sees that some people need to become a volunteer. Masters would just point to them. That's because Master could see the future and is trying to save these people's life. So it's unfortunate that Sister Zhang missed it. And for Sister Chen, she was very lucky because she actually had heart disease. And after that, she never suffered from any relapse. So she knows that whatever that Master's given to her is the best and is there to help her. So the pendant has been protecting her since. I asked the Dharma sister, is it because the price of the pendant is too high, that's why she couldn't invite? And she said no. It is something that's easily for a working class to invite. Well, all these blessed items are there to protect your life. It is really, in fact, the price of generally acceptable range. I cannot remember the exact scene. I didn't remember that I actually said that. But if I say something to a specific person, that's because I found something. Let's put it simply. I did talk about the Lord Yama, the tree knife. Have you heard about the black flag by Lord Yama? If there is a black flag, it means that you'll be captured by Lord Yama. Why is it that she needs to? Why is it that she needs to invite something? Because that's her karmic debt. She needs to clear some karmic debts. Say, for example, a car accident. A person may die because of car accidents. Sometimes
我看到了之后，
I
我
see
第一个
that there is a
第
black
二个
flag
得到保
flying
佑的
there.
这是个佛像，
And sometimes I see
不
their
然它多少钱
protections,
呢？
a protections
你比如
of
说
a Buddha
500美金
statue. How much is it?
你我们作为华
Maybe
人
it's
就
a
知道啊，
500 US
一
dollars.
尊缅甸翡翠
Chinese,
5
you
公分的
know
玉佛
that
像，你自己算
a
多少钱？就乘
Buddha's,
成
a
一般的
Guanyin Bodhisattva's jade pendant, how
好几千
expensive
美
it
金，
is.
对不对？
It's a few $1,000s,
没几
right?
百块，
And it's
那
only a
什么
few
价格呢？
$100s. What price is that?
就像送给他的一样。
纯成本价。
It is just pure cost
那为
base.
啥给他呀？
Why is it to give it to her?
因为为了帮他，
It's because to help
但
her.
是他自己不知道自己需
But
要。
she's not aware.
人就是无知啊，师傅。
可是呢
ignorance
他看
master
一下觉得不理。就一般来说哈，
Most
就
of the
好像
time,
一个他把我看成就是一个旅行团的一
maybe
个强迫你买东西
she
的
may
人，
take
我
of
必须
me
让他
as
买
like
东
a
西
tour
买
guide
东西
in
不
a
行
tour
啊
group trying
对
to
吧？有这种感觉。
sell a
但
product to you.
是我觉得叫随缘了。
My intention is clear, but I'm not attached to
对
it. It's up to the
所以就是
individuals.
你也可以这么想，也许呢，如果是他请了，
You may think
也
that
许他没有去世，
if she invite,
就是这样。
she didn't pass away.
他可能就
There's a
成了我们讲的
possibilities.
那些重报轻受的故事之一哈。
是
虽然可能发生了什么，但是人还在。嗯。
对。
嗯。
就像那个车祸一
So
样
one may not understand Master's
可能
intentions and
比
compassions.
如说你晚
It's
1小
just
时就
like
没
the
事
accidents, the car
提前1小
accidents.
时出门就有事儿
If you leave an hour earlier, the accidents happened.
啊。
If you
到那个路段，
if you are
那个打滑的时候
later,
可能
if you are
撞到
late by an hour,
弄死了。
you will avoid the accidents. You will avoid that calamities.
所以这也是福气。
So that is also a form of fortune.
是我们给网友们的一个提醒吧。
Master, that's a reminder to our online
其实
friends.
我们很多菩提同学，我们每天都是佩戴师傅加持。
Actually, a lot of our Bodhi disciples
大家
or
不要把这个
practitioners,
吉祥
we carry with us
就是
Master's
随随便
blessed
便的 这
sacred
种的哈其实人
objects.
生吉祥是非常不
So
容易
they
的
bring us
师傅
auspiciousness
在护佑着我们。
because
啊
that's Master's protections.
对，通常我们就是如果哈，就是一位命理师，就我们通常俗一点叫
Usually,
算命的，
if a fortune teller try to read our fortune, if a
你没有灾难
person
他不会
have
乱说。
some form of
哎，乱说话，为了拿人
integrity,
钱财哈，
they will
将来都
not
会出
dare
问
to
题
say things
所以不可以乱。
without thinking.
那我去给人说的时候
For
说，哎
me,
你应该来
If I
做
say
个义工
something,
吧还有
if I
比如说
explicitly say
我在
something,
上班了要做
that's
多久啊
because of something that I've
没
seen.
看他有点挣扎的感觉，
Like-
我就说，哎，一个月做1、2次也可以。
I may ask someone to come to
哎呀，
become a
我很忙啊。
volunteer. If I see that the persons don't
那
seem to
如
be
果有一
committed,
天，比如说
I
1
may say
年以
that,
后
well, maybe every month you can come once or twice.
就是你走路都走不了的时候，
And one
请问你
day,
还怎么忙？
if you couldn't walk,
对不对？
you can't even do any volunteer work, right?
讲完了。
其实我记得当时我们在温哥华的时候啊，就有一位啊这样子的师兄啊哈。
I remember in
我当时就跟
Vancouver,
他说
there was a
啊
Dharma
其实
brother.
他妈妈一起来嘛哈
He came with
他
the
那个时候
mom.
年纪不大，师傅说你
And
应该来
during
这
that
里
time, he was
好好
quite
来
young.
休息妈妈
And
那个
Master
时候
says that
妈
you
妈
must
回
come
来
to
我儿子去
practice.
工作哈
And the mom
你
said,
人
let the
家
son
得
go
去
to
赚
work.
钱
Let the
啊
son
就
make
没有听
money.
师傅的话啊，结果隔年没过几个月，儿子就中风了，
And
是哈，
not shortly
直接躺
after,
着也不用
he had a
工作
stroke.
对，
And he continued to lie on bed.
做功德的那个时机
So they missed the opportunity to accumulate
师
merits.
傅提醒我们，其实有机缘能够
Actually,
遇见
masters
师傅，得到
always
师傅这样
remind
的
us that
已经是
when
很
there
幸
are
运的
opportunity for
我
us
们
to
真的是要好
contribute,
好感恩，然后
then
尽
we
力
must
效
learn
果才是对
to
自己最好的帮助哈。
we must learn to be to
感恩
have gratitude.
那师傅，我们给这个分享这位故事的美国师姐，给她一个礼物好吗？
Shall we give a present for her?
好，送给他一个坐禅的青蛙。
This is
啊
a
带着茶桶哈，
a meditative frog,
哎，让他获得智慧和长寿。
wishing her wisdoms
师傅，
and longevity.
好，那接下来再为师傅和网友
That's a
分享
meditations froggy.
下的故事，叫供灯让儿子躲过疫情。
And next, we have a story about lighting a lamp to save the son from a calamities.
我来自怡保村
Hello, Master.
2023
I'm Song Wan
年
Yun
的
from
4月
Ipoh.
6号
And on April 6, 2023, I arrived at the meditation hall early in the morning. And suddenly, I had a flash of inspirations. I felt that I should light a lamp for comic creditors for my son. So I followed my intuitions and I continued my class without giving much thought. On the same day, my son was driving his grandmother and his girlfriend to Penang for a trip. When he returned home from Penang, he shared with me something happens along the way. When driving to Penang, he suddenly felt an urge to stop at the rest area halfway to take a break before continuing. Normally, he wouldn't stop during the 2 hours drive. After resting and about to set off again, he noticed something strange. There was cracks on the sides of both front tires. The cracks didn't look like intentional damage, and the locations were not consistent with road scratches. He had been driving within the speed limit and hasn't encountered any accident, so he couldn't understand why this happened. So he immediately found a repairman nearby to assess the situation. The repairman, after inspecting the tires, remarked how lucky my son was that the tires hasn't burst. A sidewall cracks in a very dangerous situations, as a sidewall is the weakest part of a tire. If the tires has continued to be used with the cracks, a blowout could easily occur, especially at high speeds or sharp turns, making the car lose control. So both tires had cracks, and with the high-speed driving on the highway, it would have accelerated the wears on the tires. A blowout at that point could have caused a serious accident, endangering not only my son, but others on the road. Reflecting on it, the car had not been used much at home, so why would such an issue arise? If the crack hasn't been discovered in time, it could have led to a severe accident, especially on the highway. These thoughts frightened me, and I asked my son if the trip had gone smoothly. He told me the drive had been very smooth, and if it wasn't for the rest stop, he wouldn't have noticed the cracks at all. It was then that I realized the significance of offering lights for my son at the center. It helped him avoid a terrible car accident. I am deeply grateful to Grandmaster JinBodhis and Medicines Buddhas for their protections. This is another message from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and she received it.
这突然间有一天来禅堂，就有这个灵感，要给儿子点这个冤亲债主的灯。
对，对。然后呢，不光这个师姐收到了这个佛菩萨的灵感，
Not only she received the inspirations,
平时不休息的
and in the journey, usually she doesn't rest, but suddenly he had this thought to stop at the rest stops. It must be some reminder by the Buddhas. And who actually during the rest stop takes specific notice at the wheels? And why is it that he could notice the cracks at the wheels? Not only that, the place that the sidewalk crack, were actually at a very dangerous spot. It is actually the weakest part of the tires. So they have good connections with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Why is it that they can receive it? I think they receive message from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas is because they are kind people, and they always offer lights from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and that's why they receive inspirations from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So both the mother and the son receive these inspirations from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So the mom offers lights. And for the son, he suddenly took a rest stops. And like what the repairman said, the sidewalk cracked in a very dangerous situations. If the tires burst, then it definitely will cause a road accident. Well, you think about it, he didn't go on a very long trip, but the mom suddenly had an inspiration to offer lights on his behalf. And he knows that she needs to offer to karmic creditors. I think basically for these families, they have good meditation practice. And that's why when there are inspirations by Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they manage to
能让
receive
孩子
it.
躲过一劫。
And that's why the child managed to avoid calamities.
所以这有福啊！
So they have good fortunes.
哎，不用感
So
谢
the
我，这个
guardian
平时
deities
啊
directly make
他
her
们有很
listen.
好的这个修行啊、供养啊，
So if you continuously make
哎就得到
offerings
护佑了。
and you continuously continue your
这得到护佑之
practice,
中完美的。
you will receive the
发
blessings
生，
对，
and
让你知道
prevent
说如
a
果一旦发生
misfortunes
是
from
怎么样的
happening.
哦，
对吧？这个事儿就没发出来。
对，
So misfortune didn't even happen.
你真是
So this is
就花
very
钱
good.
换轮胎就完了。
是，这都是小事。
All he has to do is just to change the tires.
是化无啊，这
真是化无
非常幸
了。
非常幸运的，
而且他还
能够完
知道说是
成世界
佛菩萨保佑了他。
嗯
你说这事儿要是
And he knows that it's because the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas that protected him.
哦，
那么还有一个，我呢提醒一下广大网友哈，
And
有
there's
很多
something
人
that I
在
just
各个
want
国
to
家都
remind
开车
all.
哈，
A lot
如
of
果你的
people, they
车
drive,
如果长期超过半年，
and if
不
after
开
half a
就
year
停在一个地方不动
you
哈，
do not
那你再动它的
move
时
the
候
car,
那
and when you
个
start to drive
靠下
again,
面那个位置，你用粉笔画一个道，
哦，
哎，那在正常在走的5公里、10公里的时候，你下车看一看，画的道的，就是原来压在地面那个位置的那个轮胎呢有没有爆裂的那个痕迹？
you may find that there may be sign that there's some cracks in the tires
因为长期压在那儿，
because the tires has been
就不足，
pressured
尤其
there
是
for a long
前
time,
前轮的这个
especially the
这个压
front
力比较
wheels.
重，
The pressure
哎
tends
如
to
果气
be
不足，气那个气是
higher
哈，那个轮胎就那里就直角嘛，直角容易断裂。
so it is possible to have some cracks if the tires is left there for very long.
所以如果
The
长期
sidewall may
的话
experience some
最好
cracks.
找朋友和家人呢，帮着把这轮胎这个位置哈换一下，不要总在一个面儿倒。
So basically, if you're away for very long, you may want to ask your family members or friends to help you move the car so that the tires can rotate and shift the position that it plays on the floor.
好，送给这位宋师姐哈，
So for this Dharma Sister song,
狮子茶壶哈，
this is the lion
很有
teapot.
艺术造型感哈。
很
哎
有，力量感。
对，希望你这个孩子哈，将来事业
And wishing your child
吉祥。
to have successful career and auspiciousness.
好，那再给师傅分享一个故事，也是来自新加坡的丹族。
Master, we have another story from Zanduo from Singapore.
师傅您好，我是来自新加坡的黄梨娇。
Hello, Master. I'm from Singapore, Huang Li Jiao.
在我母亲病危之际，救了她一命。
I'm very deeply grateful for the protections and blessings of Master and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that saved my mom. In September 2023, my 73 years old mother noticed that her stools was black in color. She saw 2 doctors over the course of 2 days, but both said there was nothing serious. However, on the 3rd day, she suddenly felt weak and pain all over. So my father immediately called me to take her to the hospital. When I saw my mother, her face was pale, her hands were cold, and she had difficulty walking. She was breathing rapidly and could only exhale through her mouth. Sensing that something was seriously wrong, I quickly called an ambulance to take her to the hospital. After preliminary examinations, the medical staff said she might be having a heart attack. When I arrived at the hospital, my mom was still conscious and I held her hand, telling her I will wait for you outside. After anxiously waiting for a long time, the nurse informed me that my mother needed to be admitted to the ICU. The news shocked me. The doctor explained that my mother had severe gastrointestinal bleeding and had already received 3 bags of blood. Her arteries were blocked, which had triggered a heart attack, affecting her organs. The doctor advised me to notify the family and warned that if my mother had another heart attack, it might not be possible to save her, suggesting we be mentally prepared for her to pass away at any time. Hearing this, I was filled with panic and disbelief at how serious my mother's conditions had become. When we entered the ICU, we saw her lying unconscious, surrounded by tubes and machines, including a large dialysis machine. She was completely dependent on these devices to keep her alive, and seeing this broke my heart. At that moment, we decided to light a special for 9 days Buddha's blessing lamp for her on the Bodhi meditation website. And we also lit 2 large 15 days lamp for her debtors and creditors. Following Master's teaching, we continued to offer lights to for Earth-store Bodhisattvas in the name of my mother, for her karmic creditors. My sister and I also recited the Earth-store Bodhisattvas Sutra daily, praying for our mother to wake up from her coma soon. For the first 3 days in the ICU, she remained in a coma, and the doctors kept reminding us that her condition was not good. But on the 4th day, she miraculously woke up. Looking at her still connected to all the machines, I anxiously asked her, "Are you feeling uncomfortable?" To my surprise, she calmly replied, "No. When I was in a coma, I saw countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of me, each one smiling brightly." Hearing her words filled my heart with gratitude and deep belief that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas had heard our prayers. Although my mother woke up, her conditions remained unstable. That night, she suddenly had difficulty breathing again. The doctors couldn't pinpoint the cause and asked us if we wanted to proceed with life-saving measures if her condition worsened. This made us even more anxious, knowing her life was still at risk. At this point, I remembered that during Master's live stream on the Earth-store Bodhisattvas Sutra, he mentioned that if someone is gravely ill and their family, with their consent, to use their money to make offerings and sponsor statues of Earth-store Bodhisattva, it can generate great merit. These merits can improve their conditions and extend their life. While my mother was still conscious, I quickly asked her, "Mom, can we use your money to make offerings for merit?" She nodded in agreement. We immediately arranged to sponsor 49 statues of Earth-store Bodhisattvas in her name, and that of her karmic creditors. Soon after, the doctor returned with new insights, identifying lungs fluid buildup, and that could be the likely cause for her shortness of breath. He recommended trying a lung drainage procedures. After the procedures, her conditions improved and she becomes more stabilized. 3 days later, she was moved to a general ward and her recovery was rapid. Within a week, she was discharged. After returning home, it took only 2 months for her to fully regain her independence and resumed her normal life. So it was truly miraculous. My family and I were deeply grateful to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Master for pulling my mom back from the brink of death and giving her a new lease of life. We're able to light lamps and make offerings at the critical moments because of Master's teaching, which helped us to understand the great compassions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In the end, we received their protections. We are forever grateful to Master. Thank you, Master, for saving me, allowing me to get a new lease of life. Now I'm able to go to the market, I'm able to cook, I'm able to go shopping. With great gratitude to Master, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. So she is able to go to the market to buy groceries. So basically, she remains her normal lives, her routine. She looks healthy now. Cannot imagine that a year ago, she was in critical conditions. The doctors has already gave the family some indications that she may not be able to live beyond a certain time. So she was in serious conditions twice, and she managed to be saved from those conditions. So black stool is usually a sign of gastrointestinal bleedings. Usually it's hard and black stool.
就有出血啊。
If she always constantly have black stool, it means that she has some sign of bleeding,
当时医生都说没事儿，
gastrointestinal
医
bleeding.
生咋看的？你说
How did the doctor see when she went to the first two doctors? The diagnosis was that she's
比较
fine.
瘦的医生，
是，然后结果我觉得就耽误了哈。
对
等到他第3天也连续出血嘛，再次去的时候直接进 ICU 了，
是，
然后
就是
输了3包。
And after that, when she went to see the doctors for a third time, she was immediately admitted into
还引
ICU.
发了她有心脏病。
啊，
And because of that, she also had some heart attack,
女儿都担
suffer
心
heart
坏
attack.
了就说
夺命来的似的
对
感觉啊。是，然后女儿担心就赶快来禅堂做功德呀。
So she quickly went to the centers to make light
学
offerings.
会了哈，学跟师父
Because
学
of
的
listening to Master's teaching, she learns the benefits of making light offerings.
啊，点灯。哎，做了这些之后呢
And after she
妈妈
did
很快
the
呢
light offerings,
苏醒了。
the mom was able to gain
问妈妈哎呀
consciousness.
你当时昏迷的时候怎么样？妈妈说我看到佛菩萨了。
And when she asked mom what happened when she was in coma, and the mom said that she actually saw Buddhas and Bodhisattvas smiling before her, radiating
收到了我的求助，他们一直在
in
帮助妈妈
compassionate rays.
等于让妈妈等于第一次从鬼门关回来了。
对，
那鬼门关回来呢，接着呢还没有完全的就是脱离这一次劫难呢，哈。医生又发现妈妈这个气喘呼不上气了。
So when the doctors found that the mother has some breathing difficulties,
如果真的再出现危险，还抢救不抢救？家人一听又害怕了哈，想着刚过一劫难。
and asked the families that if the mom goes through another serious
啊，想的这个在
problems, would they want to save her? So the family, when they heard that, they quickly go and accumulate more
这样
merits.
是最能帮助到
They remember what masters taught,
6/7
and that's important to sponsor the statues of
想要利益的那个人。那如果他自己
Upstart
做其实
Bodhisattvas
都是自己的，所以他趁着妈妈终于从清醒过来的那一点时间，赶快问妈妈，你要不要自己给自己做？
And that's why she asked her mom, when she was still conscious, whether they can use the money to make offerings for merits.
这个
And the mom not in agreement.
当时妈妈做了这个之后呢，
After the mom
气喘
make
医生开始一直搞
did the
不明白是怎么
sponsorships,
回事儿
马上找出原因
哎
了。
这个
immediately the doctor was able to make the right
然后一口水
diagnosis.
就好了。
And after he
3天就
performed the
恢复
lung
了
drainage
我感觉
procedures,
像是过山
the
车一
mom
样
seems to
刚刚
improve
开始是马上
and
就要
stabilize a
就要
lot.
这一个脚都已经进棺材了哈，很快就
And
两个脚
before
都进
that,
去了
the
然
mom
后
condition was
过了2-3
unstable
天两个脚
and
都
was
都出来了
high
不会
risk.
传染
And after she
这
did
真的
that,
是佛菩萨的护
immediately
法
the
还有那个
mom's
做大
condition
功德的缘
stabilizes.
分，就是
So it appears that it is actually the protections of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that helped her to overcome that calamities.
对所以佛菩萨帮助我们的时候，你看
And
这
the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can help swiftly, saving lives from the
是这样
brink.
的，所以也是很这位母亲也是很有
So the
福气
mom
的
is
哈
actually has
俗
good
话说
fortunes.
73、84阎王不
Because
来
there's this old saying that at 73 and 84, the king of hell doesn't come for you. You go to him yourself.
刚才我们看这个视
气色
频
非常好，
很好哈，
So if you look at her condition now, she looks really good.
非常感恩师傅哈，
So she's full of thanks to Master.
哎就是帮助他，又帮助了
It's the protections of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that help her
我们也给他
to
送个礼物。
eliminate disasters and prolong life.
好，一个普洱茶饼，
So there is a pu'er tea cake.
吃这个呢就健康长寿。
So have that and you'll gain health and longevities. And there's this really cute
贵吉
tea pad, a cat tea pad, a fat cat tea pad.
感恩师傅哈，今天
Thank you, Master.
跟大家分享了我们真的是非常神奇哈，也有非常神圣的这些遇难成祥、起死回生。
Thank you, Masters, for sharing so many interesting stories about how some of our Dharma brothers and sisters receiving the protections of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and to eliminate disasters and prolong life.
是灾祸，其实靠个人的力量。
A lot of time in critical moments, we ourselves may not have enough strength to overcome
这个
that.
时候只有靠佛。
So we must depend on the divine
像我们
force.
平时，你像我们刚才听到那个故事，那个母亲给儿子点灯，避开了这个灾祸。
As you can hear just now,
所以
the mom
持
offered
续地
lights to
做
help the
功德
son to
积累
avoid
这个
calamities.
善良的这样的能量。
And when there is this
非常重要哈
kindness,
对，所
the
以呢，让我们
the
今天
kindness
对
will
哎
bring
10月6
kind
号了哈
energy,
其实进入
will bring
10月了
positive
进
energy.
入了这个药
And now we are approaching the medicines Buddha's birthday celebration period.
在今年的药师佛圣诞呢，也给我们广大的网友、我们菩提同修和弟子和一切的有缘的人哈，都给我们机会，能够借助药师佛的加持。
During this time, we are very fortunate to have the opportunities to make offerings before medicine Buddhas, to receive good health, prosperity, and auspicious life. So we have 3 different types of light offerings. One of them is connect with medicines Buddha's wish-fulfilling light. We hope that those who offering a light in front of medicine Buddhas to help establish a beautiful karmic connections with him, to receive his compassionate and bright blessings, to begin a life of auspiciousness and happiness.
让他们有机会去做这样一份小小的发心啊！你真的不知道这一份发心能给他们带来多大的。
You do not know that how such a offerings may bring them immense benefits. And the second type is medicine Buddha's love me wish fulfilling lights. It is for 7 days. It's $88. For those who have a wish, you can actually make such light offering. We're allowed. And the third one is auspicious longevities illumination light. That's 49 days. Master is very compassionate. We are able to make this offering at a very affordable price, at $580. You can do that for your family members, so that the offerings can help the person to eliminate sufferings and achieve their wishes. They will receive medicine Buddha's boundless radiance, blessings, and protections. And during this period, we also have this light for the departed. It's called the Eternal Residence in the Eastern Pure Land. This is a 30 days light. You can offer this to the deceased, could be for the karmic creditors as well. I hope that the all-compassionate medicine Buddhas will guide them to be reborn in the Eastern Pure Land. No matter where they are, they can attain liberations and leave sufferings. We thank Masters for this period to give all the opportunity to do that. It is allowing everyone to be able to accumulate merits during this period.
其实我们每一次在这样佛诞日呢，我们网友特别想要跟随师父一起来念。
Actually, during this period, a lot of people would like to chant together with Master.
大家相信特别想要好好的。
I think many people will love to have the opportunity to chant together with Master during this period.
能为我们广大网友开办一个念。
Can Master give us a class?
同意。
I agree. Thank you, Master.
网友真的是感恩。
I think our online friends are so fortunate that Master has agreed to have an online class.
就是因为药师佛圣诞是
So,
10月31号哈，那我们
Because the actual day is October the 31st, and we want to do the class to start on the 26th of October.
等于正好跨过这个圣诞之日，哎。
So you will be chant before the actual day. We will do it for 2 hours every night from 7 to 9 for 7 days.
方便的。
So it's very convenient for all. So online friends, please remember this time. So it's on the 26th of October to November the 1st, start at 7 p.m. for 2 hours. And if it's for North America, it is 4 a.m. October the 26th to November the 1st. This is a good opportunity for you to chant together with Master to celebrate the medicines Buddha's birthday. This is also an opportunity for you to accumulate merits, and in times of needs, the merits will come in very handy. Actually, in life, we face a lot of downside as well, but if we accumulate more merits, if through the accumulations of merits that can help us, it will be great. And during this time, it is also important to consider inviting some blessed sacred items. And today, we can see that there are some specially blessed pendants by Master. Actually, the Buddha's jade pendants has very good auspicious meaning. And Master has given us different designs to choose. They are actually agate material. There is also Meta's Buddha's jade pendants. There's also Guan Yin pendant as well. There's, most importantly, they have Master's blessings. There's also a vase-shaped Guan Yin pendant, purple treasure vase Guan Yin Bodhisattva's pendant. You can look at the pictures. These are so beautiful. We know that these materials can help to, these precious stones can actually help us to clear our blood flow. At the same time, they help us to clear our eyes, improve our sleep conditions. So there are a lot of health benefits when we wear these natural beads. On top of that, they also provide us with protections. In Tsibing, there are also some very special old blue glass beads. These are glazed. Everyone is unique by itself. And there are some special point, some dots. And Master says that these are like heavenly eyes. And you clears calamities for us as well. These are the old heavenly eyes design. And they have so many eyes is to ward off negativity, ward off the evil spirits. The older it is, the more blessings you will have. Is there anything that you want to introduce further? So Master, we have this golden medicines Buddha statue. We have it available in Chibei in North America and in Asia. When you invite the Buddha home, you will protect all family members. And all negativities will be warded off. You have some evil energies, you'll be warded off the house. You will have illuminations in the house. And those who live in the house will be peaceful and saved. And they will have auspiciousness too. You look at, we also have some stickers. Look at my flask, water flask. Actually, this is for the car. You will bring you wealth. You will bring you good fortunes. Some may put it at the back of the car. Some may put it at the side of the windows. It has Master's great blessings. This is the first time that we make these stickers, because I think most of the time people will be able to take, the car, so you'll be saved throughout your journey. Because of the material, you cannot stick onto the backpack.
是可以的。
But you can place on glass materials.
背包，
But for cloth materials or backpack type materials,
我们的汽
it
车
would not be able to stick on
贴
it.
上平平安安的啊。对，
网友们就敬请期待我们这款非常精美的
好
贴纸。
期待呀
啊！
Everyone is looking forward to receive it.
家里的玻璃上，
You can you can also stick at home
还有冰箱上也可以。
or even on the fridge.
其实是店就是我们开店儿的啦，什么
也
在自己
当然是可以
店里哈，财源广进。富贵
Well, if you have a shop, you can place this wealth
我的
magnet.
话在店儿下头贴一排，
啊，是，
哎，
这生意可兴隆了。
又装饰啊，又
You use it as a form of decorations.
这人都爱
At the
买
same
票
time, it brings auspiciousness.
对对，是，连销售招财猫的那个地方，大家就喜欢去，
啊，是。
You find that the places that have the fortune cat,
是
people like to
就被吸引。
visit those stalls.
好，讲的差不多了吧？
嗯，
哎，
对
那
感恩师傅。
Thank you, Master.
其实所有师傅给到我们的一切，都是为了让我们
Actually, whatever the Master has given us, is hope that we will have more
心
auspiciousness.
心念念其实都是希望众生好。感恩师傅。
好，好，那祝愿大家如意吉祥，
Wishing all
健康
auspiciousness,
长寿，
health and longevities,
发大财，
to have great
好
fortunes
运。
and good
我
fortunes.
们下次直播再
I will
见。
see you during the next live broadcast.
10月13号
And the next live broadcast will be October the 13th and 7 p.m. for Asia Taipei time.
感恩师傅。
Thank you all.
在茫茫人海之中，让我与您相遇。小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了。